Yeah, this was literally my freaking day trade. I mean, I've got like the television running in the back, but from like the previous freaking week, I was literally like running on NASDQ, and I was like running NASDQ to like try to get the right pattern in and get like an hourly pay, or let's say a day's salary, which I was only looking at, trying to squeeze $20 from the market with 40 pence buy-ins and sells. So not a lot of like margin or leverage, but nevertheless trying to capitalize a little. And I mean, through the freaking month, I've got like a certain amounts of profits realized. Yeah, so I've capitalized a little. I mean, I was on the market, just riding NASDQ from Monday, and I realized my buying on Monday, I could have held that point all week long, and it would have averaged back out to that low. So my current week, I've literally, made a realize and potential profit of around 50 pounds, $50, around, £49 sterling, 60 US dollars. In total, at the end of the Friday, I had £96 to £99 maximum, 120 or US dollars max. I ended up like riding this down to the end of the week, and it literally, from then, it literally went below my initial profits, which was around the £100 range. At the end here, at the end round about here, where I've got like, the crosshairs on, I was selling it from here. Didn't quite get the sell properly because of the fake buying, or the false breakout, some would say. So the false breakout happened. It was really choppy. People don't know if it's going to continue being choppy. But after watching a whole week and scalping it, I now know there is a few hours between like a certain hour in the afternoon, where it's like a couple of hours in that period or era. There's going to be real choppy markets, or choppy like candles, high volatility, big up climbs and down climbs. So I'm aware of that now from watching it all week. I'm going to like swoop down with this, and from here I'm seeing like my opportunity and my money came back, but it's not going to come back as fast as I would have thought. That would probably be the max. Could have got a little bit back from losing 28 at the end of the week, but throughout the beginning I made like 28 quid off the bat, and that put me up through the week on a 40 pence buying. But I gotta kind of like, aware of the future movement, and didn't quite, go in with what I thought would happen. I ended up losing it. I should have rid this all the way up. Got squeezes of like £10 through the week, £21. Like I said, my highest opportunity in the week was Monday, £28 off the bat. It actually went to like 36. Well, I closed at 28. But I should have held on. There would have been a scare through that period on Tuesday, Wednesday, of a choppy in between. So that's what I'm going to be running off of now. So I'm going to be following last week's results and seeing it as a medium to low range in the market, and I'm going to follow it down. you know, making £4 in between, £3 quid, £2. Still averaging off more than my deposit throughout the week, withdrawing some. But nevertheless, I should be like, you know, following that chart a lot better now because I've been scalping it. So I'm gonna like run along with this. And now I'm gonna zoom out on the market because I can see like the highest parts and the lowest parts, and I'm gonna get that squeeze where it came from the fall. Each time it drops once, it drops twice, and then you kind of get a squeeze. So I'm going to be waiting on the next drop, you know, and trying to get a squeeze in. Then, you know, back in history, it done the opposite on the squeeze. It done another big downfall. So it just, instead of the squeeze up, it done the squeeze down again. So it is like you've got to be watching that movement and getting on the up and the down within the move itself. That's where you've got to be in. Close there, sell, close, sell, and you're just making the money bouncing off the top to the bottom as it just moves within its hour. Just getting there and ride it all the way down, and then, you know, but that's not the way it's done. I made that mistake at the end here. Fake breakout going upwards, false breakout, and within that volatile hour, this hour is going up and down constantly, and it's at the top and it's going down, back up, down, back up. And previously I've read that and I've got profits of like £7, £8. This hour went down and up, and it was like at the up I've bought in, and then it headed back down for 3-4 hours, and I've literally closed that and ended it on the Friday, taking a hit of £28, £29, selling me back, you know, half a week's wage, literally around half, 50%, wiped out 50 of my profits. So I'm left over my initial deposit, so I'm literally withdrawing all of my funds each week, and I'm going to be flying back in the market on some forex trades as well. I mean, I had a few hits on USD, US dollar. Yeah, I had a few on the US dollar, and that was like, yeah, weren't too bad. Japanese yen, pretty good markets. Yeah, pretty good markets on there. Just gotta look for the right, you know, the right movement. But I found a literal chart for me, which was NASDQ, because of, you know, the faster the profits. You close the week and just doing a 1-day move type thing. So you just, all it is patience with NASDQ. Just 1 hour type thing and get the breakout. You know, that's, you know, at an 80p sell, you know, you're making £100, £1,000. And I'm looking on this to get the freaking sell-off, and I'm going to get the sell-off downwards. I'm going to get it downwards. I'm going to take off around that point there. Let it climb a little. Get it downwards. Where it's down to there or there. But it's going to chop back up and back down. But I think this is a super high. But then if I sleep through that all the way till 4 in the morning, if I sleep through the evening, If I sleep till that time, I'm assuming it's made its move. And then I'll say a little fake breakout. And then back down again. So around... You say around 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. 1, 2 o'clock again, you might get a, you know, that's what I'm looking at. By that point there, it's at its lowest. If that rides it down, I'm in serious money. It's done it there. Gone up. I could be in. Oh, I mean, I'm thinking, yeah, it's the live stream over. Oh no, it ain't over. I mean, I was just watching the freaking, I was going to say the horse racing. Or the dogs. But it's not the dogs. Sounds like some type of freaking betting's going down there. But yeah, I mean, I'm just analysing on the market. I mean, I haven't freaking put my deposit in from what I've withdrew. But I mean, as you can see, like NASDQ, I mean, more about the pits. It's been at like highs of like 12,752 shares. So it's been at highs like, you know, all the way through freaking the 5th of February. No, that's the 8th of February. From the 8th of February all the way up until the 16th of February, it's been at highs of around 12,762 shares. It's dropped from that lowest points in the week, 12,200 shares. So, you know, you got like, you know, hundreds of pips movement in between from its target price at an all-time low of like 12,080 shares. So it wants it at a lower point, but it's gonna go lower, but it ain't. I don't reckon it's gonna be hitting that low. But you never know, it might do the opposite from this prediction of history, of it, you know, squeezing in, flying up, and every time it does that squeeze with the arch of the Bollinger, almost like a bootleg, like a cowboy boot. That's what I call it. Kind of like comes down, bootleg, and then flies back up like you're kicking a football. So that's what I'm predicting, the history, you know, the curve, catch the curve down, and you know, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 8 o'clock upwards, you know, I'd say 7 upwards, even earlier. Yeah, I'd say around, you know, 4 a.m. upwards, get the freaking buy-in, the buy-in somewhere low, get the bootleg, right up until it closes, you know, don't get in between, wherever it ends. And then my percent on it going lower than that, or my loss, I'd probably say, it going lower than what I'm presuming, it going higher. I'd say that's, you know, 79.21 type thing. 79.21%, 79% going up and climbing due to pattern, records, history, certain hours. You know, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere ending up there, and then heading back down. At least, you know, I've got to be freaking patient. I'm gonna stop getting if it's made its move, don't get in on the high side. I swear I've lost money and I kept on pressing it at the wrong time. So yeah, I've been literally getting in on the high side of a volatile hour. So for instance, you know, I'll zoom in. Well, I didn't keep on throughout the week, otherwise I wouldn't have realised, but the last day of the week was like, yeah, getting in on the high side of an hour, and it just drops and swings back up and drops and swings back up type thing. I normally just, you know, keep selling at a certain point and just taking. And I went wrong. Yeah, I'm going to get back in on the markets and scalp freaking US dollar versus Japanese yen. I'm going to be scalping like the pound, the euro, S&P 500, a few others, maybe an oil. But I'm going to get back in on this, and I'm going to, like, you know, try to get more than £50 this week and get over 100, get over 250. So if I get to over 250, you know, that would be like double what I got this week and lost type thing. Lost half of 100. So it's like I've got to freaking fly over that with, like, you know, at least like capitalizing over 100 pips in consistency. So patience and consistency, you know. I'm going to get out some of the other tools and instruments to, like, you know, show my profits. So as you can see, like on the history, I've got in at like 49, capitalizing in total $60, and I've got my freaking main instruments in place, main indicators, and I've got Bollinger Bands on for next week ready. I'm going to be riding off of the depth of the market and the jump in pips, but I'm also going to be riding off of the pattern, and I'm not going to be making a move, well, a serious move, so in between, trying to capitalize the small drop. That's probably going to happen. As I said, like, you zoom out, look at the bigger picture, and try get that tight squeeze down. It's going to blip up a little, so you got to be letting it do its thing for a while. But then, you know, if it blips up a little, that's not a breakout. Nope, it ain't done the full boot. That weren't the bootleg right there, dude. I'm pretty certain, because of the Bollinger Band shape, it hasn't quite finished its move. When you zoom out, it's like the whole boot hasn't came into place. Yeah, it's flipped up and closed down there. But we got to look at the finish of the boot. That's like the kink in the heel. Every single time, you know. It's like mid between. It's like that archway. Got the arch on the Bollinger Bands there. It hasn't quite closed in. With length on that boot. Barely a foot. It just comes, squeezes in. Squeezes in. Hits that target. 3,000. Yeah, 12,350 shares. Highs of, you know, 12,400. Lows of 12,200. So it's pretty much, you know, came from its high, headed down, and it's at its low. It's at its low point right now, and it's hit lower. It's just literally hit. It's hit like low points of like hitting like 1,200 shares. I mean, it's definitely hit its lows. So you would say it's like going to be bouncing back down to its low. And then I reckon I'm going to get in. You know, I'm going to be trying to get in off of that point with my 425. But I'm not putting a heavy sale price on that. I'm going to be doing like, you know, 35 pence, 30 pence. You know, nothing lower than like, you know, 25 pence. But I'm not going to be quite going off of the 50 to 85. I think I'm going to get leverage of like 85 to a pound. I might get like, 75 pence leverage. Pretty sure I'll get over 50 pence. I'm definitely going to get over 50 pence power off like selling or buying. And that's pretty lethal, so I'm not going to use all of that selling right now, because I'm still going to follow through with my pattern, like where I'm pulling the crosshairs. So I'm seeing a little jump, but I don't want to get in that little jump, to be honest. I want to see it a little higher. Maybe almost, hilling off of that Bollinger Band. I'm not going to like buy into that. I'm going to try to get a sell, because I mean, that's like 100 pips. That's from 350 back down to its lowest of the week spread or range. So if I do get in on the sell, make a little money, that would probably be around 10 or 15 quid, maybe 25, possibly even like if it was 40 pence, possibly 28 pounds, like what I just lost, because that was the movement of it from top to bottom was around 35. When you zoom in, it's quite a decent amount. At 40 pence, 50 pence, that's 30 quid. But I've got leverage of 50 and more, and margin. So I'm going to try get in on like when I'm in at the right time. I'm going to wait for that breakout in like the depth of the market over here. I'll click on the arrow. Depth of the market would be like going up in the red. The numbers on the red side for the sell would be going up when it's dropping faster. So I'd watch the pips as they just drop instead of watching it here. I'd watch it all on this corner here. The pips would just drastically change. And you see a bit of movement downwards, and then you click on it quickly and just sell, and then close out if it's like made its move. Get back in. You gotta literally freaking get along like the numbers sometimes, rather than watching your like financial status at the bottom. You gotta like literally not keep an eye on what you're losing or making. You gotta watch the numbers before you get in bidding. So you don't want to make a bid just not knowing. Watch the pips before, or if you are making that bid, make sure you've got something to like tell people why you're making that bid. You gotta have like a reason. You don't just want to look like you're gambling like 85% of your money. You want to kind of minimize that by taking your choice and saying, oh, I'm gambling this much because I'm pattern trading right now, or I'm scalping the highest volatile hours in the week, and the history repeats itself constantly. Or if it's twice, I want it to at least follow through with the third. It might not follow through with the fourth, and might go the opposite. It's got to be all of those conclusions. So I'm literally looking at this as seriously professional income right now, because $5 has been getting me my freaking essentials through the week. £5 sterling. So I've been doing well, withdrawing like $5-10 each day of the week, sometimes $25. Couldn't quite capitalise what I had left in my account. The last day I had it from a certain amount of my deposit to like $50 over that. And that was through withdrawing like all week, so that was just the end day over my initial deposits plus withdrawals all week long, through like 5s to 10s, maxing out at like 100 and not getting the rest, losing that extra 50. So I've got to get back in and just maximize this, because it's it's not easy, but you've got to have reasons for your markets. You can't just be like smoking and like having a fag and just getting up and going toilet. You can't just be like watching telly while doing it, or like putting your feet up, having fag and coffees. You got to just like sit there and have your like coffee and beverage after you've kind of made your trade. If you've got a like ingoing trade, make sure you put your stop loss on, because you can get up and go toilet and just literally lose everything. And some markets in this have been extreme. They have been literally so extreme, dude, and it's like right here, the upswing and the downswing. I made money on that, luckily. It climbed all the way up, and before that up climb it literally plummeted, so I was in buying, as you can see, from there to there, and it plummeted to like £80, 70 odd pounds. I was at like 279 from making any money, so that would have been my 50 quid with no with no freaking profit this week, but I made it back and ended up capitalizing 50. And that was after the boot climb, so I know where I'm going to be like wailing on like volatile hours. I'm hoping to do the same again. So on the Monday, I was literally like waking up off the bat 8 o'clock, had my deposit, and I got the boot. So right there, I got the boot. I got the end of the boot right there. And I ball in, it was consistency, you know. I could have had it all day long. Had it all freaking day long till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. And then even the next day, you know, a little drop, but you've got to expect losing some of your day's move. You don't necessarily want to lose any, so you want to close out at that max. And then just watch the markets. Get the max. While it's stuck on a candle, following it along type thing, it hasn't dropped from it. You know, you might be hitting the maximum of your day's move. But that's not even the day, that's 5 o'clock, so it's selling down, going through the next day in the evening, and so on. So it's gone through 12 o'clock, and then early morning, 9 o'clock, and then you're getting into midday, and then it's getting real volatile. And again here, this is where I got in from making £28 at the beginning of the week. I've got in at this point on the next day, Tuesday morning. So I've got in here on Tuesday, and I've literally got through midday. I'm making a little squeeze of like £4. So I've made my £28. I've got through the next day making profit. I'm thinking it's going to fly up from here. Had a slight interruption, and it was like got a buy in, and I didn't necessarily close my other like buy in, and it literally flew down. It was like a buy in or sell. It was either that sell there. Yeah, it was this sell here. I've got a sell, and I didn't necessarily want to close that sell. I wanted to hold on because of a plummet, and it did do that. But then I changed to a buy-in because it started climbing. Some type of like, you know, interruption where my market's just not gone right. But there, it literally, I didn't get it from the top downwards from the beginning. I had to like close it, and then, you know, because of the fall, so I've lost, you know, two like from 2.79. I've had that at a loss from it flying up, so I've closed it, and then I've literally saw that it was like going up and down consistently throughout a 10-minute frame, and I saw the candle just climbing, dropping, climbing, dropping. So while I lost through that freaking first hour from like my deposit to like, you know, 279, I've got that volatility and going up and down, and I've got it on the upside, and I've continued like playing with it downwards, taking out my profits, climbing it back up, taking out profits, because the shear hour was moving up and down constantly, and that's where my money was coming back. So I've got that 28 quid from the consistency, and then the next day I've got to be aware. So I'm going to try to let history repeat itself here and see if I can get that choppy hour or choppy 3 hours, because I don't know whether it's going to land in a downwards trend or go back up from this point. But the history with the consistency, I'm going to try to predict that Monday morning to be really steady. And that's why I can say it's not like gambling. I'm not gambling like, you know, more than 75% here because of history and trying to put as much knowledge on it. So I'm trying to minimize my 75% risk loss And that's what I'd done the previous week. This is why I earned the £28 here, because I read the consistency and the history, and I saw the level that it's just sat at, and I've bought in from 8 o'clock. I've squeezed all the way up, so I got in at 8 o'clock, 12,200 shares, and I've taken profits at 12,300 shares, and that's got it on my freaking chart right there. So, you know, I've made 100 pips profit, and it had a little drop. I've closed on stop loss. Didn't want to lose an hour's, and then it flew all the way back up. So this time I'm going to literally hit it while it's on its low through the following week and watch for the same pattern. I mean, I'm going to go on it, let it hit the rest of its boot, you know, tippity toes type thing. Let it hit its boot, and then I'm going to just get in on it. Because I don't see it like, you know, going a little lower this year. I mean, February has always been a volatile year for NASDQ, so it's not like this all year round. So these choppy hours in between, you don't really get much of that. So some say make the most of it in February. It could set you through the year with like a few grand. It's literally not a joke. I mean, I've had tip-offs in the past saying February is like volatile from like, you know, for like, you know, American markets. February could be like huge. So I'm gonna invest some of my freaking funds again and try hit it, because I've got to make a big move and, like, you know, bring my income a lot higher each week. So from like 30 to 50 to 100, or from 30 to 50 to like, you know, 280, and then 590, and then weekly just get it consistently. But like I said, I don't want to blow £50 of last week's profit, or like £20, you know, of spending some.